A Prudhoe Bay wellhead or a Kuparic wellhead would come up to about here on this diagram. This is triple the height. And the thickness of the steel in some of these sections is up to 4 to 5 inches in thickness. So significant pressure. This is this graph is a plot of many fields around the world. We've looked at 240 fields around the world. And blue means they just blow down the gas. They don't do gas cycling. Yellow or gold means they've done gas cycling. And you can see that the closest is about 7,000 to 8,000 pounds per square inch where they do gas cycling. So we're going to set a whole new benchmark and leverage technology, existing technology, but we're going to set the bar another level above wherever it's been before. Can ExxonMobil do this? Yes, they can. We've got expertise all around the world. We're a technology company. That's how we do things. This is one of the 3D models of one of the modules for the production facilities. This is about 100 or 200 feet long, about 60 feet high, and about 50 feet wide. And this module weighs about 1,800 tonnes. In total, there'll be over 10,000 tonnes of modules that we'll put in to produce the gas, process the gas, re-inject the gas, process the condensate, the oil, and the water that comes with that. This is our high-pressure separator, this little separator here, which is pretty small, but that's the size of a tanker truck. And the steel thickness in that will be 6 inches thick to contain the pressure. So I'm not sure who of you are welders out there, but that's going to take a while to weld up. So we've got a lot of work underway on the design of these facilities, as I mentioned. It's hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars just to do the design. This is a picture, remember that project illustration I showed you earlier, the central pad, what the production facilities will be. That's that little area right there in the centre here. We're actually putting in 3 drilling pads, one here on the west, one on the east, one in the middle. These are about 4 to 4.5 miles apart. And then we're planning to connect these 3 pads with gravel roads. We're putting in a gravel runway so we can get people out there. Remember, there are no roads to Point Thomson. We've got a gravel mine that's existing. We've got water sources. And then these are the pipelines that will connect the pads to each other to bring it to the central processing facility. And then there'll be export pipelines that will hook up with the pipeline near Badami. And then off they go into the TAPS pipeline. So we're developing this entire resource. And remember, this is 25% of the known gas on the North Slope with 3 drilling pads. You couldn't do that 5 or 10 years ago. Technology is allowing us to do this, and it continues to evolve over time. This is a picture taken in March '07 when we went out to stake the original well locations. So you can see the guys are pretty busy trying to work out where we're going to put these pads and the wells and so on back in March '07. It takes that long because then you have to do all of your surveys on the ground, archaeological surveys, hydrology surveys, bathymetry surveys. There's a lot of work that has to be done until you can get to the next point, which is to barge in materials. This is the barge route we took in August of 2008. We started barging on the 22nd of August. We modified our barge route in consultation with the Alaska Eskimo Whaling Commission and the whaling captains. We wanted to stay away from a sensitive area for their whaling and subsistence activities. So we modified that route. It's about an 8-hour steam time, and this is from the Prudhoe Bay dock. And these barges that we brought in, there's 2 barges here, they can pull up actually at the shoreline adjacent to the central pad. And these barges are 200 feet by 60 feet in size, to put those in perspective. And we brought in about 700 tons of equipment in August last year. We brought in dozers, we brought in graders to do some grading on the existing gravel pad. We brought in the Hilton Mark I. This was a 12-person quarters. The toilet was a black plastic bag outside, so it was pretty tough going for the guys, but they've been living out there since August. We've given them a little more accommodation since then. I'll show you some photos shortly. But that was our initial getting out there and getting going and getting started. And then in late August, September, we installed 2 conductors and basically cemented these down 120 feet beneath the surface. This is a 75-ton crane. lowering the 120-foot conductor into the ground. We'd already drilled the hole. And these are insulated conductors because these are permanent production wells. And these are about 3 feet in diameter. There's a close-up here of the 2 wells in place. This is for the PTU 15 and the PTU 16 wells, the first 2 wells. Then they're about 40 feet apart. The conductors have to be insulated because they're going through permafrost. And when this well produces, remember the reservoir temperature is 230 degrees Fahrenheit, you don't want to melt that permafrost. So you have to insulate them to make sure you protect the environment. And then this winter we've been very busy building an ice road. The ice road has melted away, much to the delight of the accountants and controllers as we built that investment. Now it doesn't exist. But I'm sure they know what to do. This is it's about a 60-mile ice road from the Endicott Causeway. We built this section in conjunction with Savant for the ice road out to Badami because they mobilised a drill rig out there as well. So we worked very closely with them to get the first part built and maintained. And then we built the second part from Badami, which is about midway point, all the way out to the Point Thomson Central Pad. About 60 miles long. This is the Endicott Causeway. It took us about 2 months to build, and we lost 35 days due to weather. 35 days. We had terrible weather in February and March. Blowing snow. We had a storm surge. I didn't think this was possible, nor as an Aussie did I think I'd become an ice road expert. But we had this storm surge come through and the waves come under the ocean, under the ice, and cracked the ice road and pumped seawater up onto the ice road in multiple locations. And salt water doesn't freeze. So now we had a swamp in locations. So we had to bypass those sections or repair those sections. We had a section of road here, just to the north here, completely buried. Luckily, we'd already built a bypass, so we could use the bypass, and that kept our schedule alive. We got the ice road operational and used it for 4 weeks before it started to melt away. We had the highest, or the fastest on record meltdown or warm-up on the North Slope this winter. We were predicting up until the 1st of May, 3 weeks. On the 30th of April, ice road was shut down the next day. Sag River melted. There was a huge, remember the heat wave we got? Hit the North Slope as well. Sag River melted, flooded the ice road, shut down. So a massive undertaking. Over 50 million gallons of water was used to thicken and strengthen this ice road. And this ice road has to ground out on the seabed bottom or be a minimum of 12 feet thick because of the drill rig we have to mobilise over it. Here's a couple of pictures. This top one is us mobilising the drill rig. You wouldn't believe it or not, but that's equivalent to the Statue of Liberty lying there, and that's a piece of a drill rig there that's about 1 million pounds. That's a massive crane we had to mobilise to put the 2 pieces together at Point Thomson. We also built a ice runway on the ocean. It's a mile long, 150 feet wide, and it can land a C-130 Hercules, which has got a payload of about 155,000 pounds, wingspan of 133 feet. And that ice road was built so we could have it certified by the FAA. Yes, they do certify runways on the ocean. And they certify the airspace so that next year, when I say next year, this year, when winter comes back, when we build the ice runway, we can use it immediately because it's certified. And then we certify it every year thereafter. That'll save us a lot of time. It took us 2 months to get it certified before we could use it. Whilst we were building the ice road, we were still very busy on the central pad. We mobilised the Hilton Mark II. This is a sleigh camp. You tow it out on sleighs across the tundra. And this had accommodation for 60 people. And yes, it included a toilet. So that made people very happy. And it also had a kitchen and a galley so they could sit down and eat. So that allowed us to mobilise additional people and start to mobilise equipment and materials. We used roller gons and steigers. It's like Lost in Space, if you remember that show. And basically transported the equipment over the tundra. And we mobilised over 30% of our materials whilst we were building the ice road in parallel.